modification of agenda.
It's not that far.
No.
This doesn't matter.
Okay. All right, let's see. Approval of minutes from the October 27th, 2025 public meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the October 27th public meeting.
Second.
Okay, any further issues, concerns? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. Okay. Next, approval for November 4th, 2025 procedural defect meeting.
I will make a motion to approve.
I will second.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions.
Abstain.
Okay. Next,
Fran?
Fran.
I did, I
Thank
wasn't
you.
present.
Next, the November 17th, 2025 non-public meeting minutes. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions. Okay, can we pass that down to Ruth, please? I was trying to pull up the documents, but I'm having issues today. It's nothing new today. All right, we will open it up for public comments, 6:32. Wow, lots of
Don't
public
all jump.
comments. Don't jump at once. Yeah, it's open for public comments. We are open for public comment.
I asked a question at the last, the big meeting, about how we come up with the numbers on tuition. And I got crickets as far as knowing it, being able to tell how much the Newfound 4 towns are gonna pay per kid. And how we, if we didn't know that, how we come up with 18,000 something, the 15,000 something. The book that we put out every year shows how much each town is gonna pay per kid, the same amount for everyone. I don't understand why the tuition kids aren't paying the same amount that we are. And it's not done the same way, it's the way it's been done since 1963. But if nothing else, if we can explain how the 4 towns are gonna pay, how much per kid in the book. It'd be good if the tuition numbers were in the book, explaining how the board came up with those numbers. Because there's nothing to look at, there's nothing to compare, there's nothing.
And just for the record, can you state your name and town? Sorry, I forgot to ask
New
you.
Hampton,
Sorry. Forgot to have you do it first.
4.5% of the taxable town land in New Hampton. How's that?
Thank you. Any further public comment? Okay. All right. All right, since we have lots of public comment. Do you want to send Dana an email directly explaining, send him the formulas for the
No, I don't need it, just put it in the book.
formulas? Well, that's part of the tuition agreements that are online. The formulas and the tuition agreements, because each formula is unique for Hill of what's included and what's excluded for Hill and Bridgewater, or Pasquaney, and Hill are online, and each formula is different.
Right, but I'm saying we've got Newfound's formula in there. Why didn't we put the tuition formulas in there?
Because they're both unique. Some include some things and not others. Each one is unique, so you'd have to look at each.
Oh, each
If you
town.
if you read each tuition agreement, you'll be able to understand
That's for each kid?
for each kid from Pasquaney and each kid from,
So you've got the
Hill.
Newfound one.
which is,
Seems like, I don't understand why they're all different.
if you read the,
Newfound's never been different, the same amount. Every town pays the exact same amount per kid.
because a lot of it has to do with special ed, but tuition agreement for busing, because they pay for their own special ed. So if they have a one-on-one aid, things like that, they're responsible for those costs. So it fluctuates. That's part of the formula.
Right, but New Hampton, if it doesn't have a single special ed kid, doesn't get to pick and choose and pay less.
Oh, you're saying, you're,
I'm saying we don't get to
Same
pick and
cost
choose.
per pupil versus
We take
tuition.
the total amount.
oh, he's
and
saying
divide it by
cost
all
per,
the kids in town.
okay.
Yeah, cost per pupil.
Sorry, I thought you were asking about the tuition price with the kids that are tuitioning in.
Yes, I'm saying I don't understand why they have a different price per kid.
Why their tuition
Why
isn't
they
the
get-
cost per pupil.
Why they get the, why it goes down to per pupil level when the entire 4 towns and the 7 towns in the past, it's always, here's the total amount divided by 1,000 kids. Doesn't matter whether you got 5 paras, your town requires 25 paras or none.
Right.
It's always the same.
And it's because of the things like transportation, special ed, other built-in
Right.
overhead that we have, that our cost per pupil looks higher and their tuition is lower because some of those costs we have. But as Melissa said, they turn around and pay for it themselves. They pay for their own busing, then they pay for we charge them for special ed costs, we charge them for other things that come back above and beyond their tuition costs.
So that's out of the base rate of price per pupil for our district. Those costs are removed out before the base rates even started for the calculation,
So
for the
when we're talking
formula.
about transportation costs in Newfound, we have the buses, which is transportation, which is always, again, divided, the total cost of busing divided by all the kids that ride the bus. And we have the total cost of school divided by all the kids that ride the school. It's been separate and distinct since 1963. Where are those 3 buses being paid for?
What 3 buses?
The one that say Newfound, there's white vans out there.
And the vans.
Oh, those
How is that, is
Oh.
that under transportation or is that under school?
that's not under the transportation
purchase those.
contract, that's
Yeah.
under the actual district.
Yeah.
Those were paid for with ESSER
Yeah.
funds.
Yeah, the district owns those vehicles.
We own them.
So they're used to save costs on transportation for athletics, for field trips, and also when we've had first student unavailable for some conflicting field trips and athletics, we've used those so we could get kids to events.
So in the past, when we have sports, before we owned those 3, all the sports stuff, busing came out of the school budget, not the transportation budget.
It didn't come out of transportation, it would come out of the sports budget.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, we know.
Okay, we'll
Usually you
keep
buy-
moving on. Next, correspondence. Okay. Anybody else have any correspondence? Okay. Announcements and recognition. We will start with the student rep report.
Okay,
Thank you, Leah.
so starting off with like academic stuff, we had New Hampshire Apply Day for all seniors and eligible juniors in the school. It ended up being around like 25 seniors and juniors that participated, applying to schools both in New Hampshire because of the free tuition during that day. We were also able to connect with a few schools out of New Hampshire that also had fee waivers available for students. Schools like
Great.
Northeastern, Villanova, Brown, MIT all offer fee waivers up until a certain date. So students were able to kind of connect with our guidance counselors in a designated time frame to work on that. For like extracurriculars, our Getting to Y program has been working tirelessly to create a new logo. They're looking for one that, as you know, the coalition has their own logo. We're looking for one that kind of symbolizes what Getting to Y is. So Miss McDonald and Miss Walliver put together a group of students that are going to work. So far, we worked with Roots in Bristol, downtown Bristol, to work towards looking at what we want our logo to look like and what we want it to really portray to the district. So work to put on our Red Ribbon Week, which happened 2 weeks ago now, just for drug and like prevention awareness throughout the school. If anybody has been into the cafeteria, you see the posters with the handprints on the wall. That was kids painting their hands and pledging to go through life drug-free. We also had our Alice in Wonderland production this weekend, which I heard went very well. We had sports awards where students were recognized for stuff in athletics, whether it be MVP, most goals scored, or even just overall sportsmanship qualities. We also had our Veterans Day Assembly, where we got to hear from Carson Town, who got to highlight a wonderful World War II veteran in our community and kind of the life he's lived, as well as Mr. Baker brought in a guest speaker to speak on his own experience. NHS has just finished, with the help of some of the kids in Mr. Larson's woodworking class, just finished building a new bookshelf which will be home to bare necessities. We will be housing non-perishable goods as well as any hygiene products or like notebooks, pens and pencils that will be available for students to grab at any time. If the nurse isn't available or if they just need a little thing like deodorant before they're going to their gym class. That's everything for like extracurriculars. In athletics, Colin Foster competed at New England's, coming in just shy of 100th in the state. He was top of New Hampshire and top of D3. He is looking to go sub 100 next year, as he still has these 2 final years to compete. For soccer, the girls, myself, and then Serenity Dinger, seniors from the girls soccer team, and I believe Daniel Shirkanowski competed at the D3, D4 round robin senior game. We were split up into teams with girls and boys from D3 and D4 soccer programs and kind of put together in these little, like, I guess melee teams. And we played a round robin style, 3 games played, 2 played by each team. Which was wonderful for the kids to kind of get a final culminating game and play with some athletes that they haven't played with before, but they've seen in past competitions. I think that's everything.
Great.
Thank you, Leah.
Yeah.
Superintendent report.
The student council, you also did a blood drive this week, right? That's right. Awesome. Consolidation study update I'd like to start with is, as folks know, that we did commission Banwell to drop programming and plans for consolidating our buildings in the future. And as part of their work, they will be meeting with some input teams from the elementary, middle, and high school level in December, and then some community listening nights in early January. Stay tuned for the date of the community listening night. It will either be January 6th or 7th. We'll zero in on a date, and that will be at 6:30 at the auditorium here at the high school. The BNL is also working, helping our facilities director connect with civil engineers who will be part of that planning process. And our building committee met with the state to learn about the process of applying for building aid from the state, should some come available. So, we had a food service audit from the state, and obviously they were auditing things from the past under Abby's supervision, right as we went to self-operation at the very beginning of this school year. And the team from the Department of Education was on site at the New Hampton Community School for 2 days, auditing the direct meal service program, but then audited like the paperwork, financials, and the procedures of the whole district. Very few findings, and lots of commendations of the good work that Jason and his team are doing. There was a challenge in accessing some of the information, as Abby Group held a lot of that information. So a lot of kudos to Danica and Jason and Kathleen, who scrambled to get that information so that we could provide the state with all the documents they were looking for. We are putting together our annual meeting calendar as part of the annual budget season. We will publish these, but just wanted to kind of highlight some dates that we will have our budget hearing for the fiscal year 27 budget on January 12th. And this year's deliberative session will be January 31st, that Saturday morning. And of course, the voting at the polls is on March 10th. So. Update on the Lakes Region Special Education Consortium that we are a part of with the other teams, with the other Lakes Region schools. Looking at consolidating, sharing some special ed costs at the K through 8 level. Right now, due to the hard work of the Franklin principal, we received a grant for a feasibility study to look at that. as well as the Interlakes the Interlakes superintendent. That was the Franklin superintendent that got the grant for the feasibility study. The Interlakes superintendent has been working with our congressional delegation on asking for congressionally directed spending, and then looking at other grant sources as well. So more to come on that as we learn more. Lions Club did vision screening today at New Hampton Community School. The Department of Education released a technical advisory on EFA students, which just to let the community know the difference between an EFA student and a traditional non-public student. Traditional non-public student would be a charter school student, a homeschool student, or a private school student that could still access their local public school for things like co-curriculars and athletics, and even take classes here. EFA students accept money from the state and do their own homeschool programming of some sort. Did not traditionally have access to public schools. The legislature is now saying that they can have access to public schools, but as a board, I'll be bringing to the board a recommendation that they would we would come up with a tuition number for them to charge them, because they are accepting money from the state, so we would have a rate for them to pay that, and I'll have that at the December meeting, a recommendation. And it is based on whether or not we have room and availability too. So, the other piece I wanted to point out, based on the legislature this year that has also emerged, is the concept of open enrollment. Right now, in the Lakes region, there are 2 open enrollment schools. One of them is only active, in that they are receiving students and charging the sending district's tuition, or that the recent Supreme Court decision. Originally, the legislature said that for under open enrollment, both schools had to be an open enrollment school if the receiving school expected to receive tuition. Now, a recent Supreme Court decision says whether or not, let's put it this way, whether or not we are an open enrollment school, and we're not currently, if some of our students chose to go somewhere else that was an open enrollment school, up to 80% of the tuition cost. So that's something else we're talking about as a Lakes region, as well as I'll be bringing to this board about if we were to become an open enrollment school. I believe currently under the law it would have to be a warrant article that the citizens or residents decide whether or not we are an open enrollment school, but the board each year would set the parameters. More to come on that, because there's also legislation to change that you don't have to have a warrant article, and that basically everyone can be an open enrollment by declaring your open enrollment. So, all right. A lot of 2 of our elementary schools are having community Thanksgiving meals this week, both DES and BES. Wanted to point out in your board, in the board packet, I included a new competency-based report card flyer that our elementary school principals came up with in response to some of the parents and their questions around competency-based reporting, especially at the elementary level, as well as they redesigned the elementary report card to be simple and cleaner and more understandable for the parents. Just quick couple highlights from the curriculum administrator's report. Data meetings are underway now that we're a quarter into the school year. We're able to look at some student data around both math and literacy, as well as some of the other things we look at around attendance and discipline. Work is being done around the academics 306 rules. In the winter, the high school and our curriculum administrator will be presenting to you changes in the program of studies based on the changes in the 306 rules. All of our schools, I believe, had Veterans Day assemblies this week. Last week. I was able to attend 2 of them. Danbury also had a veteran guest speaker who the kids hung on every single word. He had lots of stories to tell. Our elementary schools also had Halloween parades. Wanted to commend senior Kevin Zick, who was recognized as a commended student under the National Merit Scholarship Program based on last year's PSAT scores, as well as, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, the high school had their collaborative visit by the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, which is the NEASC, which schools receive reaccreditation every 10 years. The part that I sat through on, which interviewing the central office administrative team, I felt the team was very positive and had a lot of praise for the programming here at the high school. They were amazed at the number of electives and AP classes, even the number of athletic teams we had for a school our size. So, kudos to were you one of the hosts, student hosts, to the receiving team of teachers and staff and students who hosted those folks. And the way it works, after the collaborative piece, they send a report, and then you implement some of the recommendations in the report, and the team comes back in 2 years to see how you've implemented those suggestions. And then I guess I will end with my last thing is, one of the neat things about being superintendent is being able to go from school to school and see teachers in their classroom at all levels in the district. And I had the pleasure of walking through Mrs. Seavey's first grade at New Hampton this week, as the students are learning, or last week, sorry, as students are learning about the skeletal system. She turned her first grade classroom into a surgical ward where the students actually engaged as surgeons in the classroom with full garb and using the equipment and studying. I couldn't believe the vocabulary around the different bones and skeletal system in the skeletal system that these first graders were using. Very impressive. All right, and that's the end of my lengthy report tonight.
What were they dissecting?
So she had different models. Some of them were neat, like they were actually skeletal pieces made out of pasta, and others were actually.
That's great.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So next, we'll move on to the presentation from the high school field hockey team, playing for a cause.
All right.
That's you guys.
My name is Tammy Lance. I am just finishing my 15th year as the Newfound varsity field hockey coach. And this is Reagan Kearney, my first year. I am proud to say that as a program, we've developed 3 core values that we truly believe in. And one of those is being a good teammate. And the second is that we always play with grit. And the third is our tradition. And tonight we're going to speak on a tradition that I'm really proud of. All right, ladies, here we go.
Each year, Newfound Field Hockey dedicates one game to a cause greater than the sport itself. This year, we partnered with the Newfound Coalition and Stand Up Newfound to highlight drug overdose awareness and drug alcohol prevention.
Purple ribbons decorated our field as a symbol of the profound impact overdose has on individuals, families, and our community. Together, we raised $1,330, bringing our 4-year fundraising total to $9,000.
Half of this year's proceeds will support the Newfound Coalition, a local organization committed to preventing and reducing youth substance misuse while promoting healthy, thriving futures.
The remaining funds will go to Stand Up Newfound, which works to eliminate substance misuse through the community awareness, prevention, intervention, treatment, and recovery.
This cause is deeply personal for many of us. Over the summer, a member of our field hockey family lost her brother, Patrick, to a drug overdose. Their sister, Coretta, courageously shared their family's story on their behalf.
Our hope is to help remove stigma, encourage open conversation, and shine a light on the impact substance misuse has on the Newfound community. At this time, we'd like to present our donation checks to the Newfound Coalition and Stand Up Newfound. Thank you.
Would you mind coming up and giving your checks?
Thank you so much. I so appreciate that.
Can we take a quick picture?
Absolutely.
Second.
Cammy, do you want me to take it and you be in it?
No, I don't need to. Sorry, I turned it off to be polite, but now I give it away. Yeah.
Oh, Ray's got it.
Squeeze in together. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you very much.
Great job.
Nice job, ladies. Oh, you got a picture, right?
Yes.
Because Dave just texted me, get a picture.
Yeah.
Look at British, you can't move fast.
I'll text it to him.
Okay, thank you. All right, next, manifests.
We do have manifests for
Over.
October.
Okay. So manifest for October, we need a motion to approve the manifest for October.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Next, committee reports, budget committee.
Need to schedule a meeting.
Okay. Yes, because, and we'll schedule first presentation meeting, will you try to schedule with us pretty soon?
Hopefully. Yes.
Yeah, because, yeah, this is our only meeting in November, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I just looked at the calendar today and realized we're halfway through November. All right, facilities committee, you have a meeting?
We have a meeting December 2nd.
Okay. Policy,
We finally received at the end of last week, so Thursday or Friday, the fall update. I now need to just sit down through it and spend a Sunday redlining. So,
all right.
and then I'll schedule a meeting once because we got that big fall update.
Right, it's the big one. Okay. Curriculum committee?
Probably January.
Okay.
Yep.
Building committee, they had a meeting?
Yep, we had a meeting. We had a great presentation, as always, from Mike Davey. He kind of broke up some energy systems proposals for us into three kind of more manageable chunks, and we'll be looking at that in new business later on tonight.
Okay, perfect. Wellness committee,
January.
okay. Tech council?
We did have a meeting at the end of October. The Chromebooks seem to be doing well with the teachers. They, the only thing that seems to be an issue is they're trying to figure out how to get the kids able to present YouTube videos, which there is a workaround to do it, just people aren't used to it yet, so it's taking a minute. I guess they had to send out 3 computers to get service, which is taking longer, but when they bought the Chromebooks to start with, they got extras in the building, so no teacher's going without it, so there's no issues there, but something in China is holding up parts. I think they want to discuss Infinite Campus based on what the options are that we're using and what we possibly can use, because they were talking about electronic hall passes, which is an option that Infinite Campus has, but they haven't been using. So instead of getting something else, using that, trying to figure out. There's been a lot of complaints from parents that don't love Infinite Campus, but there are other programs that, like one was Alma, that other school districts are using that they've heard more complaints about. So trying to figure out what it is that parents or guardians don't love about Infinite Campus right now, and if there's any way to fix that, or if we need to come up with something different. Ariel wants to put together a task force to make, like, how to teach people AI, because we have the policy on it, but that's very vague, so put together something on teach how we should be using it in the classrooms, rather than just say this is what you can or can't do. And
Yeah, we'll be presenting an AI plan by the end of the year.
yeah.
Yeah.
We went over the Discovery Education app that's on Clever, because there's a lot that teachers can use that they may not know that they have access to for different programs. And I think that is the majority of it.
Okay, thank you. Negotiations, we've kind of come to a preliminary agreement. We're just waiting now for that to go to the union and kind of go from there. So we'll wait for that and then hopefully bring something to the board at our next meeting in December. So that's where we are.
And just to add real quick to the tech council is, Paul Ciotti, our IT director for the district, will be presenting the highlights of our annual tech plan at the next board meeting.
Okay.
Because that also needs to be approved by the board yearly.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Next, new business, the energy audit proposal.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Armin.
Hi, Armand.
Those of you that don't know me, I'm Armin, I'm the Facilities Director for the district. And tonight's very short PowerPoint that I put together is no new information. This is
Okay.
exactly the same information that was presented to you previously. And as Joe just alluded to, trying to get more manageable chunks, so to speak, instead of having one large presentation with a high price tag, of trying to separate these into some potential projects that we could work in as potential warrant articles for the next town meeting. So none of this is new information, but rather it's just a synopsis, putting it into smaller chunks. And the objective here is, at the end of this meeting, is to try to find out if yes or no, if the board would like to recommend that these move forward as warrant articles or not. That's what we're looking for. Sorry, I gotta get in front of you, I'm sorry. So this is the original project that you folks have already seen, including the replacement or installation, this is all at the high school, of the air handlers, controls, boilers, solar on the roof, LED lights, electrical transformers, and electrical upgrades in the building. And this number was the total on that. That's the big number that we're trying to make smaller. So that's a synopsis of what we've already talked about. And this is the proposed separation, to have them as smaller items, one being solar for the roof for this
Can
building.
you angle it just a little bit?
I'm sorry?
Can you
Just
angle
Oh,
that just a little?
Of course, yeah. You can't bend your neck that much, come on.
Perfect.
I can't
Can you
have
still
block.
see it on there?
I just want to make
You
sure.
good? Okay,
everybody-
perfect.
Is that visible now?
That's good. Yeah.
Everybody, yeah.
Okay.
So, sorry, you want me to go back?
No,
That's
no,
the
you're
slide?
good.
Okay. So roof solar is, you'll see in just a minute, is one. HVAC air handlers with humidification, which we talked about, and the controls and the boilers as another option, another potential warrant article. And the third one is LED lighting, electrical, building electrical upgrades. So they each sort of have their own, you know, this is all basically electrical things, and this is more of HVAC and heating and so on. And this number is the same as the last slide.
Okay,
Sorry, I've got to go over here again.
that's okay.
So this is the first one for the solar. Again, the cost numbers have not changed. That's the overall cost, potential annual savings, available grants and rebates, which will be going away soon, which we have to keep in mind, and the payback in years on that. Again, nothing new here, just separating items, that's all. The second potential is the HVAC, air handlers, controls, boilers. Total cost, save us about $72,000 a year. And there are some rebates / grants available for that, which again might be going away next year. This is a longer payback, but this item is necessary, meaning we have to do this sooner rather than later with the conditions that we currently have at this building. So whether we do it here, you vote on it as a warrant article or not, this has to get addressed. We're at that point with our system due to the age. And this last one is for LED lighting, electrical transformers, and building electrical upgrades. Again, there's some grants, rebates available. And you'll notice this number is very low, so this is definitely a good bang for the buck. It is surprising to me that this building does not have LED technology in it. It's very surprising to me. So that would be a very positive thing, I think, for the building. Some brief things I typed up. All of the systems that we just talked about, they're a little over 36 years old. Most of them are original. And one of the key things is the electrical service that we have inside of this building. Getting to the point of it's inadequate. Very often I have to have electricians come in to add more power to certain rooms because we just don't have enough. There was one instance where we needed to have a certain voltage for some in the art room, and we can't do it. It just doesn't exist because we have 38 or 36-year-old electrical system, and modern technology uses more. So that's sort of where we're at with that. We talked about a little bit about the boilers, air handlers, controls at our last meeting when we did this presentation. Typical service life, 25 to 30-ish years. We're at 36 now, and this last thing, unfortunately, requiring very frequent repairs. That's actually already started for this heating season, unfortunately. It's just, we've got to keep them going, so we've got to keep them fixed. The LED lighting upgrade, if we decide to move forward with that, similar to what we did at the middle school before I was here. Was it during COVID, I think it was, when you did an LED upgrade. Now we never have to replace bulbs, ever. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
Bless you.
The amount of bulbs we change in this building on a daily basis would shock you. Solar, with the very short payback on that, would drastically reduce the electric bill. I think the savings on that, if I went back a couple slides, was $65,000 a year. That's a huge number. And this last bit, and I'm going to have, I have Mike here and Tim from EEI. I'm going to have them talk briefly about this. The grants and rebates that were listed on those previous slides, a lot of those will be going away, and I think it's middle of next year, 2026. So if there's any thought that we might want to move forward with this, we'd need to probably do it very, very quickly, so we wouldn't lose those substantial grants or rebates that are still available. If we do wait and lose all that, it would change the payback years and such, because the cost would be higher if we decided to wait on those things. All right, and that's it. Questions from the board on that? Again, it's the exact same information you had previously, but it's on 3 separate articles. No? Public?
There's a question from the audience. You want it to later?
Can we ask that?
Typically, we don't when we're doing,
Okay.
when we're in meeting.
Oh, we can wait then.
Is it short and sweet? I mean, I know I'm asking Dana, I'm asking.
I know, I talk a lot. Quick questions. We spent $800,000 redoing the gym roof a few years ago, and you're gonna put solar on the roof. What happens, I don't know which roof you're gonna put it on, but what happens when we have to replace the roof? And you've got $1 million worth of solar up there. I had the same question, I put solar on the ground, so I didn't have that problem.
And I'm gonna have these guys answer that question. That question was answered at the last meeting as
Okay.
well, but we can answer it
As long as
again.
it's been, no, as long as it's been addressed, you've thought about trying to. redo
It was brought up at our
Yeah,
last
and
meeting.
the brief answer, if may I? The brief answer is, we looked at that when we did the assessment of the roof, because of the age of the roof is,
Right.
I think it was just a couple of years before I started working here. And the life expectancy of the solar array plus the roof that we currently have on the building they would both end up needing to be serviced at about the same time
Well, that's,
down the road.
that's part of my next question. You said the payback on the solar was under like 13.5 years. I was told I'd have to replace the solar panels in 15 to 18 years. So about the time you're done getting your payback back, you're starting all over again, as far as replacing your solar panels, if that's still true.
So you'd want us to replace the panels in how many years?
I was told 15 to 18.
Is that what
you'd
you'd
have to
look,
replace them.
that's what you would want them replaced at?
No, that's what I was told when my solar panels were put in.
Oh,
I'm just asking
I see,
if that's
okay.
the current, because you're saying you're not gonna.
I'm gonna defer that to our
You're not gonna
energy
break
efficient
even till
folks,
13.6.
because I don't know, so we'll defer that to our experts on that.
And you've also said, like, there's a $75,000 annual savings on one of the things, on the 30-year plan. How many, because we won't have to do maintenance, how $75,000 for how many years? I mean, because if it's
So
gonna take you
that
30 years.
Yep, so
30
that,
years.
that information was also at the previous meeting.
Okay.
And there was a
Well,
spreadsheet that actually went over that. Again, this is more duplication of what we already talked
Never
about.
mind that.
Okay.
And one other question, the maintenance fund we have, that we've been putting $400,000 a year into with leftover budget money, is any of this been available to use against maintenance things that could be done?
Suppose,
Doesn't have to be answered, just throwing it out there.
I don't have the real answer to that. That might be a board decision on whether to use those funds for that, so I'm not sure.
Yep.
So, I have Mike Davy and Tim Donovan, who are here from EEI, who helped create that short slideshow I just did. And they have proposed some sample draft warrant articles with the separation that I just talked about. I'm just going to have Mike kind of quickly go over that, and he might be able to answer any questions you have about that process, because that's above my knowledge base.
And sort of as by Mike Davey from EEI, I know most of you guys know, but for the millions watching at home. So one of the things that's interesting in New Hampshire, this is a process that EEI has been assessing this building since, I think, 2021. So it's been a long process. But in New Hampshire, the way we approve most of these projects is with 1 or 2 sentence warrant articles and a big price tag. So we broke it into 3 separate warrant articles, so it's more digestible. These are not the final articles that have been reviewed by your council. This is just sort of, we've had some very similar warrant articles recently in Moulton Borough, in Belmont. And so we kind of did a draft of what they would look like. There ends up being a lot less information on the warrant article than was even just in that presentation. So if the board decides to put all or any of these on, I think a big part of our task between now and March will be education, putting information on the websites, putting information in packets, doing tours, so that, and maybe even a video if you wanted to kind of explain, here's why, from a very high level, a lot of late 1980s HVAC equipment throughout the district and throughout the high school especially. And so if you don't mind, we have a quick PowerPoint on what similar warrant articles would do. The first one, shall Newfound Area Regional vote to authorize the board to enter into an up to 20-year lease agreement for the installation of up to $1.84 million worth of energy-saving equipment for a roof-mounted solar system at the high school. Other improvements will be partially funded from annual energy savings in the operating budget. The lease arrangement contains a non-appropriation clause or escape clause, and then the board recommends passing it. A majority votes required. A couple things. We put up to 20 years. When we did a lease at Newfound Middle School for the HVAC equipment, the district paid off that lease in one year. So it's like a mortgage, you may want a 30-year, but when you go out to the banks or if you have surplus and you want to pay it off early, just saying up to 20 years puts an upset limit on it. We also have had instances when we did a project at Shaker, which is Belmont and Canterbury. They did a similar warrant article to this, the 15-year rate came in at like 3.7, and the 20-year rate was like at 4.8. And so the board was like, hey, the 15, it's similar to a mortgage. You may find that a 15 or a 12 has a much better rate, but it gives you that option. Or another thing that Belmont did to make the payments less with a shorter term is they used funds from their expendable trust to do a down payment. So the first one, if you guys decide to do it this way, would just be a yes or no majority vote on solar. Next one, I won't reread the entire thing, but this one would be 6.1 million for new propane boilers, HVAC controls, HVAC units at the high school, and other improvements related to the HVAC. So this one would just focus on boilers. It is locking you into propane, so we did talk about other technologies, but the way this would be drafted, it would be saying propane boilers. And that's a big chunk of where the energy savings are coming from. Going from oil to propane, there's a higher efficiency and a much better rate. We just switched both Molten Borough schools from oil to propane, and they've had significant energy savings in the last 2 winters. Next slide. Last one would be doing lighting controls and electrical transformer upgrades to the high school. That would be $1,067,570. Again, require a majority vote and a 20-year lease agreement. So that's we talked about, just as a higher level, how do districts do this? This is the most popular way New Hampshire school districts are doing it, with leases with escape clause. The other options are trying to make these smaller, put them in the budget, do them over time, or do bond votes. So we just got a quote from Oyster River of what the 20-year, which is Durham, their rate came in at 4.57%, 20-year quote. We won't know what interest rates you would get, because this would need to pass in March, and then typically you don't even go into this lease agreement until May or June. It appears interest rates are trending down right now, but a lot of things could happen between now and then. The two things that are time is of the essence. With the solar, there's a $300,000 one-time grant for projects that are completed by July of 2026 that is not available after that. And also the roof would be that much older. So, we're not like really saying you have to do it, but it makes a lot more sense to do a solar project in 26 than it would in 27 or 28 or 29 for Newfound. And the lighting rebates, just as a quick, there's significant lighting rebates. I think it was 85,000 on your slide. That those, although they don't officially expire in New Hampshire yet, our neighboring states of Vermont and Maine have phased out lighting rebates altogether. We're expecting New Hampshire to follow. The idea being LED lights have been around long enough, and this rebate is supposed to incentivize you to go to more efficient, newer, more expensive technology. And the electric utilities across New England are saying LED is pretty much the go-to now. We don't want to rebate it in 2028. You should have probably gone to it by now. So that's it. It's just trying to give you an idea of what the voters may see, something like this after approved by your council.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Are we gonna
So
vote
what
on
has
them
to go to
separately?
bond hearing? Do all of them? Okay. Mike, because we don't know yet, because we haven't officially decided yet
Yeah.
whether we're gonna go with an addition on the high school, blah, blah, blah. Because we're in the middle of a building committee trying to make a decision that won't go on to the warrant until 2027.
Yeah.
If there were to be an addition onto the high school, these propane HVAC system, is it just for what we have here structurally now?
We talked about that, so we've included extra capacity both in the number of tanks that would be installed. So we talked to your supplier, which I think is Dead River right now, and we talked about getting additional tanks and additional capacity in the system for a potential future addition. So we're working with the Banwell team, so we have a pretty good handle on the potential additions that are being discussed.
Okay. Okay. So we'd be able to meet the capacity, a future capacity if need be. Okay.
This might be a silly question just because I'm new, but how would we get, because they said that this has to be done by July to get the rebates for like the solar power, but it has to be approved in March. How do you get started now if we don't even know if people are gonna want it or not?
So it has to be, so the IRS regulations have been changing on this fairly consistently, but the current term is, it has to be safe harbored by July. So, and then you have until I think 2028 to complete. Safe harbored means you have to expend 5% of the total project budget and go under contract. So that's what we're doing right now for Hollis Brookline School District, where we're doing a roof mounted solar on their high school. We're safe harboring, getting 5% done. So what we would immediately be doing is, if the warrant passed, we would be ordering the materials, we'd be getting under contract with the district, and then we would be making sure that you're invoiced at least 5% by July.
All right, so nothing can actually, is gonna be done before people vote, and that's what they want? Yeah, okay, that's where I was.
Yep.
So the rebates and the incentives that are being spoken of that potentially could be going away, what is the requirement to have those paid out to us? Is it completion of the project? Is the project 50% complete? What are the terms?
So I'm just gonna separate, because if we're talking the solar rebate, which is roughly $300,000 here, so that is paid by the IRS to the district 6 months after completion of the project. So we just finished 2 projects, Raymond High School, we've submitted our IRS application in, and then we're doing Essex Votech in Danvers, Mass. We completed the project, bring it online, and we've included a consultant to get us through all that. And this was part of the big beautiful bill that was like heavily negotiated. Could Congress change these rules? Anything could happen. Our industry just fought pretty hard to get this compromise. So the solar rebates were supposed to exist until 2032. So the House and the Senate and the President wanted it reduced. And so there was some proposals that was like eliminate it as of the fall of last year. And the compromise that came out of the Senate was to extend it until July, any project that commenced, because there was a lot of projects like ours, like Raymond, we were already under construction and the big beautiful bill was coming along. And I think there was a lot of talk from Susan Collins and Olympia Snow about like, this would be very fundamentally unfair for districts that have been in planning, like here, for multiple years. They vote and then all of a sudden strip it back. So that was the compromise that, so could it be changed next year? Anything could be changed, but I would think it's unlikely to be changed at this point. Second rebate, second thing was the lighting, and I just want to say that's a different, so that's coming from the state of New Hampshire through the New Hampshire Saves program. We haven't seen any movements to pull that funding back in recent years. That's been pretty bipartisanly supported in New Hampshire for a lot of reasons that I could get into. But what we are being told is that although the rebate program will still exist, LED lighting rebates will be phased out. We have no imminent closure dates. That's just sort of, I would guess, this is just my assumption, in 2028, I would bet LED rebates in commercial buildings will not exist. That would be my guess, but I don't know that for sure, just based on what we're seeing in Vermont and Maine.
Cool.
Anybody else have any more questions for Mike or Armand or anything?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
you.
Mike.
So do we vote on these separately? Or,
I think we should vote on them separately,
yep.
because each one will have to follow the full bond.
Yep.
But we can
Hearing.
have all three heard the same.
Correct. The same
Yeah.
time. And then the bank building would be on there too, and be a bond hearing too. That has to be a bond hearing as well, because it's over 500,000.
So are we making a motion to send them to bond hearing? Is that like?
No, if we want to vote on the warrant articles, we'd make a
vote.
motion to approve the.
Oh, vote on the warrant, okay.
Right, would just be making a motion to vote on the roof
How are they
solar, the
ordered?
HVAC, or the LED / electrical work.
Okay.
I guess I would do them because the proposal to us is to do them as 3 separate warrant articles.
Okay.
Then I feel like we should vote on them 3 separate. We should have 3 separate votes.
Yep.
So.
Makes sense.
So yeah. I think that's what we should do. Okay. So roof solar,
I'll make a motion for roof solar.
I'll second it.
okay. Discussion on the roof solar? Thoughts?
No? What's
So we
people
pay
have to say?
right, so we pay the pretty much 1.2 million, and then would be eligible for 300,000 back,
Yeah.
right?
And eventually, we're gonna
Okay.
have to upgrade the stuff anyway. Now there's some incentive for it.
Right.
I think
Potentially.
the opportunity is now too, because of what they said about the age of the roof and how they time out kind of.
Well, no, we're talking
hopefully-
about
We're talking
the
about
lights now,
solar.
not the
Oh.
solar panels.
Sorry, roof solar, no?
Yeah,
Not
That's what you were
Yeah.
talking about, solar.
Yeah, roof solar,
Oh.
roof solar.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
LED lights.
No, we're talking about the solar.
Yeah,
The
so-
roof, the solar.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
But we'll see if they last 30 years, is what we'll have to see. But if that, projection is correct and the roof times out at the same time as, then we'll be doing all that work in
Right.
30 years again. But
My only concern is that we have all of these things with all of this money, and we're gonna put the TD bank on there and try and get people to vote for all of that. I think with this much stuff, it's gonna be tricky.
I think that was one of the motivations in breaking it out
Yeah.
into the 3 warrant articles, is giving the voters the decision of, maybe yes on this part of the project, but maybe not as comfortable with
Like,
the
if you
whole.
want your kids to continue to stay warm, we really
Yeah.
need the HVAC.
Right.
Right.
Because
we don't want the whole thing to
obviously-
get shot down because
Yeah.
somebody doesn't like solar or something like
And
that.
the
Yeah.
HVAC is the priority.
Yeah.
The HVAC
Right.
is, we need to keep the
Heat going.
the heat going. So.
Unless we take off December, January, and February and go all summer.
This is,
And just
this
tell
is New
everybody to wear
Hampshire.
sweaters
We
for
need
the other
March
months.
off too. So.
And maybe November.
Yeah.
But even like, well, and then we also have the teachers' contract on there. There's a warrant article this year too.
Be a busy year.
I think what's going to be really important, that we have a vision, and that we have it very well laid out, and make it very clear that this is a step process. Looking at this report of enrollments, I don't see how anybody could look at that trend and say consolidation doesn't make sense. It absolutely does. And I think if we say this year, this is what we're working to. Next year, 27, we're gonna be coming in with this and this and this, to get to the goal of 2 campuses, more efficient operations. I think that the weight's gonna be on the board to sell this and make it very clear so that there's not a lot of questions and doubts.
Right.
Right. But also make it energy efficient and more sustainable, operationally.
Yeah.
Because we did that to the middle school and.
Would
I
it make
mean-
more sense to change the different, not put it in the order that he did it, make the
We can do it order-wise, we can
Okay.
The articles
we
can,
can do
The articles in the new
articles
order
different.
we want.
They have to be, although because they're bonds, they have to be a certain order anyhow.
But they also only take 50% votes with the lease scenario versus asking for a bond, which would trigger the 2/3 vote.
Oh, that's right, because it's a lease. That is correct. We're not going to a bond because it's a lease.
Right.
That's
And up
correct.
to a 20-year lease is what,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And,
Right.
and just because everything is on the ballot doesn't mean that everything will.
Get voted for, I know, I
Right.
just,
And
Right.
why limit ourselves to things that people might approve, given the,
Right.
see what the public.
And, right, and I think that's a fair point, like, we shouldn't be deciding what the voters want. I mean,
Right.
If proposals are put to us to put out on warrant articles, I think it behooves us to, these are things that have been proposed to us, there's tax credits out there that we should put it out to the taxpayers to vote on and have their decisions be heard.
I agree. Any scenario we go into, there's gonna be pros and cons,
Mm-hmm.
but we might as well allow the public to make the decision overall and give them the opportunity to decide on everything, not just one thing.
Right.
okay.
So, vote, any further discussion on the solar?
Fair enough.
Okay.
Can,
No,
No.
no, because
Oh,
we gotta
'cause we're
vote,
voting?
we're
Okay.
voting, we have a motion on the floor, so no.
okay,
And it's not public comment.
I know.
Okay, sorry. Any further discussion on the roof solar?
No.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Next, HVAC.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion on the HVAC? I think this one is definitely one that's, personally, I think this one's a high priority before we keep putting more money into something that's failing, so.
Well, I just think the biggest point on that one, I'll just reiterate for the sake of saying it out loud again, is just the sheer cost of those air handlers and having to do them in the middle of winter would be, would decimate that maintenance trust fund pretty quick. So
Yeah.
I think having a good plan in place to move forward with that is very imperative.
Yep. All right. Any further discussion?
I'll just make another point. We are beyond the life expectancy of the equipment already.
Right.
So we are on borrowed time when it comes to
Right.
looking at that.
Okay. All those in favor of the HVAC, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Next, LED and electrical work. I need a motion to approve that. I'll move to, actually, I should say, I'll move to approve the LED and electrical work.
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. Seeing none. All those in favor of the electrical warrant?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions?
Okay.
Okay. All right, so that will proceed. More work. More- But you're right, those are leases that are not bonds, so.
Yep.
So thanks for correcting me. I forgot that we were changing the wording on that, because then that does give us more freedom if we want to use a fund balance. If we had fund balance, we can pay them off earlier
Yep.
and things like that. So that is nice in regards to the lease option of it. Next, a local critical shortage approval.
So, asking the board to vote to declare a local critical shortage in the area of elementary math specialist. We have an elementary math specialist at each of our Title I elementary schools, and part of the certification process, or help expedite the certification process, would be for the board to declare a local critical shortage. I will tell you, I imagine if I advertised tomorrow for a math, elementary math specialist, we probably would not have a certified candidate apply, so.
Motion to approve the local critical shortage.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. Okay, next, field trip.
Field trip
for the high
to
school.
for the high school to the Boston New England Aquarium, to see a live example of the animals they studied in class. This is Mr. Dumont, who is our life sciences teacher, and looks like accompanied by Andy Eagle, our ELO director.
Okay. And that's in December, right? December 16th, is it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I need a motion to approve the field trip.
Motion to approve?
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions. Okay, next, enrollment projection.
So, in your board packets, I did include the annual enrollment projection report from Nasb, which is the New England School of Development Council, that does, among other things, one of the things they do superintendent searches, and they do enrollment projections and other studies for schools. So if you remember from last year's, you may notice that this one is a little bit harsher in the sense of the projection of declining enrollment is greater this year than it was last year. So I did do a quick short PowerPoint just to take you through a couple things that I wanted to point out.
Well, last year they left in Bridgewater, Hebron, Groton.
They did.
So I would anticipate
Yep.
it to be a steeper change because
Yep.
of, because I think we had asked them to show us what it would look like without, but I don't think they ever,
Yes.
Did
They
it.
waited until this one.
yeah.
The astonishing one is to look in the next 10 years and what the numbers will be.
Yeah, and I do have one interesting comment about that. As we go through
They
this.
did say that they were only the mostly accurate the first 3 years.
For the first three, and this is where I want to show everyone something. So just a little background, for as part of their projection, they use birth rate data to inform the kindergarten enrollment. One thing they said was the birth rate did increase by 3 students than they thought from last year, so there's a little bit of influence on.
Increased or decreased?
Decrease, sorry.
Okay.
Decrease, a little bit of influence on some of their projections, thank you. They also use net migration, people moving in, people moving out. They look at building permits in the area, just every piece of demographical piece of information they think could help predict enrollment. Enrollment projection fell 110 students based on the Bridgewater Hebron withdrawal, and that's about what is at Bridgewater Hebron. So, data, as Michelle said, is most reliable in the years 1 through 3. So I want you to look at the number around the middle school. So projection over the next 3 years, they're saying decreasing the elementary school enrollment by 49 students. Well, you know, Bridgewater, Hebron, and some other factors. Decreasing at the middle school by 130 students. So that, they said that's by the end of 3 years. So that would go from what, 261 to 130. So if you look in your packets tonight at the current enrollment in our schools, so 3 years from now, that's our district grades 3, 4, and 5 students. Correct?
Right.
So, and then you add in the ones tuitioned from Hill, and actually that number's wrong. That brings us to about 208, 209 students. So yes, down from the 261, and we expected that because we knew Bridgewater Hebron was what year by year they're going K6, K7, K8. But I guess I take a little bit of taken aback by their prediction that we'd be down to 130 students at the middle school 3 years from now, where that doesn't add up with our own current enrollment in grades 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
So I would take caution on some of these numbers, is what I'm saying.
And it might be some of the confusion with all of our numbers with who pulled out, who's tuitioning in. Because I remember, because I looked at those numbers for the middle school and calculated all of those for our fifth
And
grade
looked at
study.
our current enrollment.
Right, and looked at our current enrollment. Yes, it was looking like the middle school was gonna be down about, in like 3 years, was like 75, 60 to 75, I think, if I remember correctly, because the big thing was the 8th grade class was so big.
Yep.
Yeah.
That them coming out, it took a hit. But then, because Bridgewater, Hebron, Groton was going to keep their kids, that's also why there was a big trend.
Yeah.
So if I remember correctly, in 3 years, it was going to be high, but not that high.
Yeah.
But our current 3rd, 4th, and 5th across New Hampton, Danbury, and Bristol comes to 193 students. And then adding in 16 current fourth and fifth from Hill comes to 209 students. So, I mean, and then interestingly enough, they're predicting a 2% increase in the high school students.
2%.
Two people, sorry, not 2%, 2 people increase of high school over the next 3 years.
Very specific.
Very specific. So this is the data we provided to NASB as they did the study. Our current enrollment numbers for the 25-26 school year. It included the choice in and choice out students and our homeschool students. Our choice in and choice out students are students that may either come to us by tuition or go somewhere else by tuition. We looked at those numbers and they kind of netted each other out to 0. But it also looks at homeschool students, which we currently have 23 homeschool students in district. It also, there was a section where we described the withdrawal of Bridgewater Hebron, the number of students, their plan to evolve to a K-8 over 3 years, starting this year where they were K-6, next year K-7, the following year K-8. And I also mentioned the Hill tuition agreement and its length, and that all of their students grades 7 through 12. And we did explain in the Bridgewater Hebron that their students 9 through 12 do have a choice between 2 schools. And I did provide NASB with the current that 37 of the 42 high school students from Pasquaney currently go to Newfound. So I gave them as much information as I could. So their prediction trends, last year's report projection was a 1.7% decrease over 10 years. This year's was a 16.9%. Again, that this same report 1 year later, and again, Bridgewater Hebron was not on their radar last year in their withdrawal. They predicted 11.3% this year, and that was, again, due to the Bridgewater Hebron withdrawal. And don't forget, besides the Bridgewater Hebron withdrawal, there are still 17 Newfound students still enrolled at Pasquaney as part of the tailing out agreement, too. Last year's prediction was a 9.4% decrease over 10 years, with 3.3% in the first 3 years, and this year's shows a 41.6%. Again, I'd ask to caution those numbers based on what we're seeing in some of our actual enrollment. So, but I think we will also see a decline. Go ahead.
Could a shift in the open enrollment rules and laws have a significant impact in this? So that's something that we should consider as well.
Yeah, I think it could have an impact. I don't
Positive
know.
or negative.
Yeah.
We never know, but it's something that's kind of an outlier that I don't think anybody's really looked at in this scenario.
Nope.
I don't think our district will see that much impact.
You never know, though. I mean, people flood to this area all the time for different reasons.
We put that fancy new solar on, you know.
Put an addition on, do a unified kindergarten, whatever. Yep.
And I wanted to just end with, this is what the NASB is also predicting for the next 10 years, for what they saw last year, but then also what they're predicting over the next 10 years across New England. And actually, they have the national figure as well.
None of that makes sense with all the new houses that are getting built
Yeah.
around here.
Not the young people.
And some of them.
I mean, there is trends in you listen even beyond just schools. I mean, the news and statisticians talk about how we are a declining population. So in that, you know, they're already talking about what impact that's going to have on the labor force and the job force. And so,
People aren't in a rush to have kids as early as they used to.
yeah. So there's nothing to vote on there, but I wanted to. And this will impact, obviously, we do provide Banwell with this study too. So as they're planning, they use this as a planning tool, so. And you're right, I mean, Fran, as you mentioned, if this is also an important ingredient to the talks around consolidation, so.
Yeah, my projection was by about 100.
100.
I found the numbers. I know I had it somewhere. I just had to look a little bit, dig a little bit further. So, but that was because they were gonna be keeping the kids at Bridgewater. So, okay. All right. Let's see. Anybody have anything else on enrollment numbers? No? Okay. Next, public comment on agenda items only, 2 minutes per comment.
You're very patient.
2 minutes.
Hey, Dorothy, New Hampton, solar, you just approved an article for $1 million. My solar was 30,000, there's 30 panels, I think, on it. How many panels is that? And I didn't hear anybody say, and hopefully it's all in there, when they get done in 18 years, how are we gonna get rid of those panels? What's the cost involved with getting rid of those panels? It's gonna be a lot. That should be factored in when we're talking about whether we're gonna go into this or not. Hopefully some thought's been put into that. Calculating numbers. In the past, the school cost for a board, for the school and the bus, we've always used the numbers from like the year before. So this year's numbers in the book, calculating how much each town pays with the population from 23 and 24. So when you're doing next year's, you're gonna have 24 and 25 numbers, which include the 7 towns, which don't. How are you gonna calculate those numbers that the 4 towns are gonna pay? Just curious. Don't need an answer. Done.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else, public comment? Okay. Seeing none, board member comments?
I have two.
Okay.
There were 2 sheets in our packet that talked about, and I don't know if they're from Banwell or we created them, the impact of the solar, the roof.
Good for
and so on.
me, yeah.
That, I mean, I admit I have bad vision, but this is ridiculous. So, is there a way to make the columns less wide? And to do it landscape instead of portrait? And maybe smaller margins so we can have a bigger font for the information. And the second sheet, which was the 20-year payout, was even worse. I had to get a magnifying glass out and I still couldn't read it. If they had the same things, the smaller margins, the smaller columns, and if they were broken down onto 2 columns, landscape, one with the first 10 years and one with the 10 through 20, 11 through 20 years, it would be much easier viewed.
Yeah, I'll work with Armin on getting, it's their document, so I don't know how much editing power we have, but we'll see if we can get them to do a markup for you.
It's easier digitally. 'cause
Yeah,
then
did you get to see it digitally?
If you can do it on your computer, you can.
Like, I'm zooming in and it's just, this one's just getting blurrier and blurrier. So the other one worked fine. This one, that's the project cash flow projections
Because
did
it's
not.
like they did like a screenshot.
Screenshot.
Yeah.
She does, yeah, she scans them in, right? She scans the documents in.
Donna,
It's like
probably, yeah.
it's-
Remember, we had that issue with,
Yeah.
I feel like,
But
was it
look,
with
some of the
policy?
numbers,
We had an issue where there was a blurriness, and so I forget how we resolved that.
but see, some
It's
of
an
the,
easy thing to do if you have, where you can modify the document. I understand that they don't particularly want you to modify because somebody can play with the numbers.
'Cause
But
somebody-
if you could modify it as to layout, I think we could make it much clearer
It's
and
like a
take
legal
very
size.
little time.
because it's like a legal size document on a letter size sheet.
Right.
So that was my first point. My second point was, I didn't hear anybody else discuss it, but every year recently, the drama club has been the benefactor of the Christmas tree.
That's right.
It's on an auction, and you buy tickets.
Yeah.
And that usually happens the weekend after Thanksgiving.
I think it's.
And I haven't seen that anywhere, but I wouldn't want us to forget it. I go every year and enjoy it.
It's the 27th. is set up.
The Festival of Trees?
The
is that what-
Festival of Trees.
I have it the
Isn't
28th.
Isn't it the
Yeah,
28th?
it's
It's probably the 28th.
Friday the 28th,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's Friday, yeah.
It's always the
28th.
Friday after
Oh, that's when I'm
Thanksgiving.
going to it, is the 28th, yeah.
So, and that was at the town hall last year. I don't know if they
I think
changed
it's in
it.
the same spot,
I
isn't
think
it?
so.
Yeah, it's been-
We'll just double check.
There were some really cute trees.
Yes. I'm
You were a
getting
winner.
nod.
You were a winner, weren't you?
Middle school is built.
Yeah,
is
Bristol,
one.
Bristol
won
Town
one.
Hall. Yep.
Did you win 2 or 1?
I might have one too, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I thought you won too.
Because didn't you donate one to?
I have in my notes,
The-
it's the 28th and the 29th.
I think you're right, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
frequently
you're right,
win
because
2
I
or
have to
3.
set up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're good.
Set up my Thanksgiving day.
Yes.
Tickets.
Got it.
I know the student staff senate in the middle school is doing a tree because I was requested to. Mom, we didn't use those decorations last year,
Oh,
did
yeah.
we? Can we?
The SAU's doing a tree too.
Very nice.
Well, I have all
Yeah.
kinds of decorations if anybody wants to call me and say, can you donate some Christmas balls or whatever?
Ours might be Halloween related.
Might be.
Why were those decorations on clearance?
And
Good idea.
maybe a lot of leftover Halloween candy.
Be like the Nightmare Before Christmas. Right?
You could put little buckets on them. Little candy everywhere. There you go. All right, any other board member comments? Okay, seeing none, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. Have a lovely evening.
Yeah.
Well, everybody